What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a new Rayman game. Not in terms of a leak or a rumor or anything. I just want to talk about, is it possible that we get it at Ubisoft's E3? Is it possible, I guess, that we get it at all? So, look, I'm a man of the people. I made the Skull and Bones video. I actually made a Far Cry video. We've talked about a couple of games that are possibilities for Ubisoft at E3, and I've seen you guys saying it loud and clear. What about Rayman? And the kind of the disrespect that Ubisoft has given this franchise. Now, I'll be upfront and completely honest with you guys. I've never been a Rayman fan, okay? To be honest, I remember Legends quite a bit. I actually remember loving, I don't think I've ever even played it, but I remember, leading into it, I was like, you know what? If there was a game that I would jump into this franchise, it would be this game because it looked so amazing to me. I loved everything that I saw. I didn't know it's been, 8 years. I think it came out in 2013. I can't believe, because I remember very vividly what that game looked like, and I remember the trailer, and I remember the E3 and all that stuff, talking about that game, and I can't believe it's been that long. So, while I am being upfront and honest in terms of, I'm not a big fan, I can't explain the lore to you, I can't do that, I can relate, and you guys know this if you watch enough of my videos, I can 1000% relate to a company that is just disrespected to no end a certain franchise, right? I've talked about Sly Cooper, I've talked about Resistance, I know people will say Jack and Daxter. I mean, I've talked about many franchises, specifically Sony themselves, which is, I'm a big supporter of Sony for the most part, but they are one of the worst companies in the world at just leaving, specifically, to me with Sly specifically, leaving franchises for dead, okay? And so I can relate to Ubisoft doing the same thing for Rayman. So I guess the question is, could we see a game be announced? So the answer is probably not, right? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I think you got to be realistic, okay, in these situations. But, honestly, an answer of yes or no, and an answer of, will it be at this year's E3 versus last year's E3 versus the year after's E3, there's not too much of a difference. It's a new opportunity, potentially, for the game to be released, or I guess announced. So I mean, to be honest with you guys, I don't know what went wrong. Legends, so I did a little, looking into it. It seemed like it sold pretty well. It definitely got reviewed insanely well. It had, high 80s in terms of even Metacritic. It was a insanely high-reviewed game. So I don't know exactly what the plan is. I feel like what I can tell you, okay, I'm not an insider, I'm not a leaker, but I try to pay attention as much as humanly possible to the gaming industry so that I can, kind of spout facts. I guess the thing that, from being an outsider of Rayman, maybe the reason why they haven't done it is because obviously their model has changed quite a bit, right? In terms of long form content, and what I mean by that, I guess, is content that can constantly be added to. So the idea of season passes, even with Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs, and those are big franchises in the first place, right? They sell very, very well. But then games like Ghost Recon or or The Division, right? They're big into a game like The Division. The new Star Wars game, rumor has it, is very, very close to what The Division is. So I think kind of bigger games that keep you in for a very long time, that have additional content that can always come to it, that can sustain it. I want to say live service, but to be honest, it's close to live service, and in fact, I think Ubisoft has even thrown around those words in the past, but it's not exactly. It's kind of in the same realm, but that's really Ubisoft's focus, and again, relating to you guys on a level, I feel sorry for Rayman fans, because you can look at it really for any company. Whenever a company kind of says, we're moving in this direction, or we want to do stuff that's going in this direction, and you're like, ooh, well, this favorite franchise of mine, I don't really think fits with that, right? And it's like, well, I can kind of relate to that. I see why Sony hasn't touched Sly. I see why they haven't touched Resistance, but it really hurts. It really does, because I love those franchises to death, and I think they can come back. And honestly, I think the same thing with a Rayman. I think one of the things you can look at is Ori. So Ori, I know they're not exactly the same game, but there's a lot of games, I think, now that have stood out that have been kind of in the same vein. Even Cuphead's a lot different as well, but even something like Cuphead, there's definitely been games that have been released in the last 7 to 8 years that I would say you could look at for evidence and say, no, these games can still do well. So I think it really probably comes down to, obviously it's still a recognizable franchise. It's still a decently big franchise, with a big name. But, it just comes down to, does Ubisoft feel like it's necessary for them to make those games instead of a game? And I don't even know who made, like, which studio inside Ubisoft made that last one. But, is it worth making it over Watch Dogs, over Assassin's Creed? And I know you probably don't need to pick, like, one or the other in terms of Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed versus this game, but maybe that's just how it goes. So, I always have hope. I always want it. And another thing, final thing I'll say is, Prince of Persia, Splinter Cell. Now, Splinter Cell has been a franchise that they've just done dirty for a very, very long time as well. But at least they listened a little bit with Prince of Persia. Like, I think that had to have been fans, I think their interest in that franchise had to have helped them do it. Now, it doesn't look all that great, and there's still, there's a lot of worries with it. It's delayed indefinitely, all that stuff. But, like, Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time remake, I think is moving in a good direction. I do think, and there was loads of rumors for so long that there really is a new Splinter Cell game happening. I believe it. I really do think it'll happen. So that's one that I think could eventually happen as well. So if we get a new Splinter Cell, if we get a Prince of Persia remake, which maybe spins into, say that it does well, and we get a new game, it could be a sign that Ubisoft is looking back at some of their bigger things, and they're saying, okay, what can we kind of spin into a new way? I don't really think Rayman's something that you do another remake or a remaster of, like an older game. I think it's just something you do a brand new game of in general. So I think there are signs that they're moving away from it, but there's also signs that they're trying to balance it. You know what I mean? They're trying to do new stuff, or they're trying to push their new kind of agenda, which sounds bad when you say it like that, but I mean, it's understandable. Like, they want to do what they want to do, but also, hey, we can throw you a bone. We can do Prince of Persia. We can give you another Splinter Cell. And I think those games, honestly, can still be very, very successful. I really do. And I think Rayman can honestly still be successful. So I will say I don't think it'll be there. I'm kind of rooting for something like Splinter Cell to be there. But again, we won with Prince of Persia in a way. And so who knows? Who knows? I definitely think it's definitely possible. I just don't think I'm going into it expecting. And that way, if it happens, it'll blow, not necessarily I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not the biggest of the franchise, but I'll be happy for you guys, like, for sure. Maybe this will be the first game that I can fully jump into. So, you never know. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think that it's possible that it could get announced? Why do you think maybe they've stopped making it? Let me know. As always, make sure, if you guys haven't already, you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. We're pushing for 50K. We need your guys' help, and you guys have been doing awesome and supporting me so far, so just keep it up. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, PodcastNow15 is my Twitter handle. Link for that is in the description, or obviously you can just look me up on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.